How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, dude. I was gonna tell you this story that is probably not the closest I've come to dying, but like the most miracle time that I have no idea how I'm alive. Like it is like literally, I have no idea. Like you could call it luck or like, like someone was watching over me, or I have no idea how I made it past this moment. And which is interesting that if you listen to the story on how I broke my tailbone off my spine, this incident happened like, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile away on the same ski resort from that. So this is, it was maybe early in June, and the mountain was still open. And this is at Mammoth Mountain. And if you're familiar with that area, this is happening on the upper Dry Creek, which is on the backside of Chair 3 down to the left, like near Chair 5. There's a huge like ravine in there. And basically, at that time, I was 17 years old, so 10 years ago. And in June, the main side of the mountain is open, but the other side of the mountain where I was is closed. So there's no lifts that are running. There's no people over there. There's nothing happening on that side of the mountain, mostly because of lack of snow. So I'm in this area, and that day I had woken up and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go soul shredding today. Like I'm gonna just go like do my thing. I'm not gonna wear a helmet. I'm not gonna bring my phone. And I'm not even gonna wear boxers. Like I just remember thinking like, I'm just gonna like wear a t-shirt and some jeans and like just just send it. Like
Fully freedom.
yeah, like full freedom. Sunglasses and like some like cut off gloves. Or like, it was a summer day and I was just like, yeah, let's go.
Radical.
Didn't tell one person I was going snowboarding. Didn't see anybody that morning. I was by myself, and I went snowboarding, was just taking laps on Chair 3, which is like this. And then and it's funny, the people that I ran into, I got on the lift and I saw two friends that were riding on the other side. They don't even know this happened, still to this day, but they were the last people that I saw. And then as soon as I got off, I'm like, I'm just gonna go over this way and like kind of go navigate my way down this upper Dry Creek area, which is basically this gully that's on one side surrounded by these huge cliffs, and on the other side is just kind of like this steep snow bank. And anyway, to like kind of get into that ravine from the top of Chair 3, you have to traverse if you wanted to get to where I wanted to go. And once I'm like traversing, I was looking kind of at the terrain and how it was banked. And then there was, like I said, it was June and it's really warm. It's like 70 or 80 degrees out. And by the time all this snow is melting, and all this snow is like, and there's this huge river that's going down the side of this mountain. And I was traversing, trying to get over to these cliffs, of course, so I could jump off of them. And I approached this river. It's like this just snow on this side, rocks and water and rushingness that's maybe like, going really fast, but it's maybe no more than 10 feet wide, and then more snow on the other side. So the water had kind of created this river on the side of this mountain. And I remember, it's the last thing I remember. I remember snowboarding over there. There's nobody around. I remember looking around and there was nobody. And then the last thing I remember is approaching this river, and I saw this like rock that was kind of like angled like a diving board. Like it was like pointed out over the river kind of. And I remember thinking, okay, you could either take your board off and walk up and jump from this rock to that rock and easily make it across the river, or you could just try to send it off this rock as a diving board and go over the river. Like it made sense to me at the time. And I was like, I'm not gonna unstrap, like you got this. And that's the last thing I remember, was looking at this like diving board style rock jump across this river to the other side. And I'm on like a 40-degree angled bank hill already. So it was like this thing that at the time made sense for me to be able to do, no worries. So the next thing I remember, this is like, even to just bring myself back to this, is like therapeutic in a way, but also very terrifying to tell this story, because I know how real and like miracle is that I'm alive from this experience. Like it gives me the chills just talking about it, because alone there, remember seeing that. And then the next thing I remember, I was in like a dream. I was dreaming, but I wasn't. It was like I was stuck. Like I just remember like fighting water off my face, like I was drowning. But and then I like opened my eyes, but I was dreaming. It was like this weird consciousness. I was like not sure if I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like I remember that I was aware of something, but like not really. And it's really weird to explain like that, but it just felt like it wasn't real, but I remember it kind of. And I just remember fighting water off my face, screaming, help me, help me, help me, help me. But and I looked up and it was just water just pouring on my face, and I could see I was stuck. My snowboard, whatever happened, I obviously didn't make the river, but my snowboard had gotten wedged between these two rocks on the embankment, and so I'm hanging upside down in a river, fighting water off my face, but like I wasn't completely drenched in the water. I was like kind of like above it somehow. And the reason that the only thing I remember about this was that I was like literally I could see my board, it was stuck on these rocks. And so I was like maybe like in part of a waterfall or something. And so I was like half in the water, half out of the water, but my board was stuck and I'm upside down. And then like as soon as I could, and I kept coming in and out of this like dream, but I think I was just coming in and out of consciousness, like help me. I could just hear myself screaming, help me, but I couldn't see anything. And then I could see something, I could see water, I could like drowning, I'm spitting, I just don't know what's happening. I'm just screaming at the top, like help me, but I didn't know where I was. It was like I was hearing myself like through a phone or something. It was like, it's just like really bizarre and hard to explain. But I just remember that image of me being stuck upside down screaming, help me. And then I blacked out, don't remember anything. All I remember was just like, you're dead. Like that's like, you're literally like, I don't know. But then I like completely go out, don't remember anything. And then next thing I remember, the next very limited thing that I remember was walking through the snow. So I had gotten out of there somehow. I have no idea how, like zero recollection. I have zero idea, but I somehow must have unstrapped myself and made it out of this river and the stuck situation that I was in, got out. And I remember just carrying my snowboard and walking in the snow. And I'm walking in the snow as I'm walking, there's just blood just pouring in the snow in front of me. Like just complete, like as I'm walking, there's just a solid stream of blood just pouring as I'm walking. And then I don't remember anything. And then the next thing I remember was looking at my hands. And I looked at my hands and I had these like orange, like cut off gloves that were like, and they were completely blood, like completely red. And then I had like, actually I had a flannel on like this. And then I looked at that and it was all blood. And it was blood on both arms. And then I remember grabbing my head and going like this, and then there was just like a gulp of like a whole chunk of like guts in my hand. I went like this, and I was just like, and I remember there was just like clobbed, it wasn't just blood, it was like guts. And I'm like, what? And then I don't remember anything else. I just remember seeing that, and then I don't remember anything else at all. And then the next thing I was like either conscious or not, but in a dream, because I have a feeling that this happened, but I was so out of it that I was going full speed in this dream, or I think that this happened. I was going full speed down this run because basically where I'm at on the resort, there's a run like Stump Alley, which is and Chair 2 and that whole area, like the mill is what it's called. That's the closest civilization point, which is still like from where I'm at to get to there is like probably 2 miles of snowboarding. Like if you really think about it, probably two mile-ish of snowboarding. And I just remember like, okay, like something in my mind was telling me get there. And in my this dream or consciousness or barely, I just remember going full speed down the run as fast as I could. And I was like in and out of like remembering this. And I think this happened, but it felt like a dream. I hit this dirt because the snow literally ended. Like there was no more snow on the run and it just became dirt. But I think I must have been so panicked. I just went full speed into the dirt and I remember ragdolling, like just full speed into the dirt, just ragdolling like, and I probably got more hurt than I already was. And then I just like don't remember anything. And then I remember running as fast as I could through the dirt, screaming, help me. Like it was like I was gonna die. Like I was just like I remember like running, feeling like I can't really run anymore. Like I can't, like, but I don't remember, like it's like half in, half out, I'm like gone. So then the next thing I remember is seeing two people on skis that came down from like this other way that saw me and I'm screaming, help me, help me, help me. I need your help, help me. That's all I remember. And I remember like I said, I have no idea what was really going on, but they didn't help me. So like maybe, I don't know, but they did not help me. And maybe I thought I was saying help me, but I wasn't actually saying help me. But I got back to more snow. And I just remember looking down again and there was just as much blood as when I was, 30 minutes up, I'm guessing, up higher. There was just the same amount just pouring. And I just remember like, you are on your last, like you don't have long, but you need like, and I remember strapping back in and going, and it's the snow. It was just like, it felt like it took years to get to where I was trying to go. I finally had like maybe like a mile left to go. And I don't remember anything. I have no idea that last like mile or wherever. I have no idea how I did it. But the next thing that I kind of remember is walking. I was walking up to the lift. This lift was running. This is back to civilization. This lift was running. And I remember walking, maybe I was like 20 feet away from the lift. And I don't remember anything else. Like I don't remember anything else until I was sitting there like 20 minutes later or something, just screaming. And there's this lifty, it's just like a guy running the lift saying like, just calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. And I'm just like freaking out, screaming. And then next thing I know, it's actually funny, my friend was the ambulance driver. And I remember the next thing I was in an ambulance and he's yelling at me, you dummy, wear your helmet. I didn't have a helmet on. You so stupid. And like, I don't remember anything but him just being on my case. Like 17-year-old kid, wear your damn helmet, especially when you're snowboarding alone without a phone. And like, just so stupid, like so stupid on my part. It was like just so dumb. But I remember him because I've known him my whole life mostly. He's yelling at me, where are you, like what are you, like just so pissed off. So I get to the hospital and I remember getting stitches in my head, or staples, and they was just completely cracked my head open from here, like this hole. I still have the scar there. And anyway, I don't really remember much of the hospital. I just remember I was there. And then actually a family friend who recently just passed away, rest in peace, he picked me up and brought me to my house, and there was nobody around but him, and he kind of looked over me there, and it was but I was concussed out of my mind. I'm surprised the hospital even let me go home. And I don't even remember. I really remember just him picking me up. They did the staples in my head. I do remember them sticking a needle in my head that was like this long. And she's like, all right, you ready? And they stuck this needle like in my head. It was like that long to disinfect it or whatever. And then that was really it. I kind of was just out of it for a while. And you're not supposed to sleep with certain concussions and different things like that, but like I just was not, I didn't really know what was going on regardless. But so I was looking back, like I don't know what happened. I have no idea how I made it out of that. Like I don't, like besides like feeling like I was watching a movie or a dream of like a certain thing taking place, I literally don't remember like anything. It's a miracle that I got. So I'm 17, whatever. I'm at a house party the next year, literally like a year later. And I'm just sitting there with some friends talking, whatever. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "You're the guy." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're the guy." And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, "Dude," he goes, "I was running the lift and I remember you when you cracked your head." And I'm like, wait, whoa, whoa. And so anyway, for the rest of that party that night, I sat there talking to this wonderful dude, he's telling me the whole story from his perspective. So he was running the lift, and he says, "Here comes this kid walking towards us, completely covered in blood from head to toe, completely, blood dripping everywhere." He says, "I walked up to him and just goes, 'Yeah, hey, I don't think I'm okay.'" That's what he says my opening words were. They're like, "Hey, yeah, I don't think I'm okay." And he goes like, "Oh," and now I do remember his freak out. I do remember that from the story. He looks at me and turns around, starts running. And I do remember this part now that because he was telling me the portion, and then it triggered this, and he ran. I guess he ran to the phone and called, the ski patrol, whatever. But this dude wrangled me, had me sitting next to the lift there, because I was, I guess, walking around and whatever. But he said I was sitting on the edge of this lift, screaming at the top of my lungs for it took them forever. Again, for the ski patrol, it took them a long time to get there for some reason. And he said that every time, no joke, he said every time I would just every few minutes just start panicking and freaking out. And he said every time I do that, guts and blood was just pouring out of my head every time. So if I was chilling, it was chilling, and then I'd be like, "Ah!" And he said guts is just pouring out of my head, falling out of my head, and blood and all this. Anyway, it's a miracle that I literally have no idea how I made it past that. It was a blessing from a higher power, and I'm very blessed to be here and to be able to share that story with you. And the takeaway message from this story that I hope to portray here is that no one's invincible to anything, and that of course I think a little bit differently now, or at least I try to, than when I was 17. But I try to tell kids all the time, wear your helmet. It's just not worth it. I have had so many concussions, and I've seen friends go through traumatic brain injuries, and watch how it can literally just change you and your life and the people around you. And so you want to guard against that. And the best way to guard against that is just to try to minimize risk and think about your choices. Maybe go riding with a friend. Maybe bring your phone. Maybe wear a helmet. And of course, like I said, if I was listening to me when I was 17, I probably wouldn't really listen. But I've had my fair share of experiences now to realize, hey, it's not worth it, and you should be, because I know, I think at that time, even though I was riding by myself, it's the cool thing to not wear a helmet. But guess what? It's not cool to be laying in a hospital with a concussion, with broken bones and bleeding, and having your family worry about you, or worse, not making it out of that. So if you can just guard against that by wearing a helmet, trying to minimize risk, it's not worth it. Your life is more important than trying to look cool for a photo, and that's not what I was doing that time. I was just trying to go soul shredding for the day and not worry about anything. Just didn't prepare properly. And things happen when you're least expecting them. So you just want to keep your guard up and make sure that you can best prepare for that, so that you can minimize certain things from happening. So stay humble, and I hope you took something away from this story. Thanks for listening, and tune in for more.